What's up? It's your boy Dean Talks. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about free agency. Before I start the video, I just want to say, as you guys can tell, I'm doing something new with the gameplay in the background, the 2K21 My Team gameplay. I thought, alright, this might work. This might make it more entertaining, some of the videos. So if you guys like it, please leave a comment below saying you liked it. If not, you can leave a comment saying you didn't like it. I don't mind. It's just for future, to see if I keep going with this or not. Anyway, let's get into it. So today was the first day of free agency. It's only been about 4 hours into the free agency period, but I think we have enough information to make a video about. So I want to start off with a big signing for the Bulls, which is Lonzo Ball. So they signed Lonzo Ball on a 4-year, $85 million deal, and they had to give away Satoransky, Gary Temple, and a second-round pick for Lonzo Ball, which I think is a massive good steal for the Bulls. They added a playmaker, which they needed. They also added a defensive guard, which they also needed, which is really good. Lonzo Ball has had, he's been ridiculed a lot of his career, but I think he's still a great point guard, and he can still be a better point guard than he is currently. I think he averaged about 15 points this last season, and he's had flashes of greatness. So I'd love to see him play even better at Chicago. So yeah, I guess we'll see in the next season. Another signing the Bulls acquired was Alex Caruso. They got Alex Caruso on a 4-year, $37 million deal, which also adds another defensive player to their lineup. He can also shoot it from three. He's obviously going to be coming off the bench for Levine. So I think Bulls have had a great start to free agency, which we really like to see. So Bulls did lose Daniel Tice, who was a really good backup center for the 20 games he played. But it's now off. He's now off to Houston on a 4-year, $36 million contract, which is really good. If you guys don't know, I'm a Celtics supporter, so Daniel Tice, big fan of him since he played for us, and he was really good for us before he left. So yeah, moving on. The biggest signing today was the Kyle Lowry to the Heat, which we all knew was going to happen, but today it got confirmed. So he ended up getting a 3-year, $90 million contract, which is really good to see. Even though Kyle Lowry is up there in age, he's still a great point guard. And I think the Heat will utilize him really well. I think he'll play really well because he's got friends there. So that's really good to see. Now, even though that was a dub, I think they paid Jimmy a bit too much. Basically, I don't want to get into too much details of the contract, but basically when Jimmy Butler is 36, he's going to be making $50 million a year, which is a lot. I think it's a good idea to keep Jimmy Butler because of, how great he is as a player. But, for this long and how much money it is, I don't know if it's going to work out for the Heat. But you never know. He could be a great player, and he could have longevity and be great when he's 36. We don't know that. Another good signing for the Heat was PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is a great defensive player. He was guarding some of the best players in the finals. I think he was guarding Kevin Durant in that Eastern Conference Finals as well. So yeah, great defensive player, which is definitely not what the Heat need, but they added him anyway. They got him for $15 million over 2 years, which adds, another great defensive player, as I said before. And I think Heat have had another great offseason with these two signings. So, yeah, plus Duncan re-signed, which is good to see as well. Great shooter, great player in general. So, yeah, moving on. The one thing I really like that I saw today was Derrick Rose re-signed with the Knicks, which is what I wanted to see, since Thibodeau is, their head coach. And when Thibodeau is D Rose's coach, he plays his best, I just want D Rose to succeed. He could have gone to Lakers or a really good team, and won his chip. But hey, staying in New York is another good option. So yeah, so some of the smaller free agent signings that happened that I just really want to touch on real quick were Devonte Graham went to the Pelicans. And they said he got sent there to pair with Zion and Ingram. I don't know how I feel about that. He had a great 2019-2020 season, but last season, he kind of slowed down. Especially when LaMelo Ball started getting more playing time, which was deserved. But yeah, we'll see how he goes in the Pelicans, or at the Pelicans. Sorry. Another thing that happened was Dwight Howard, sorry, returned to the Lakers. He played well with them in 2020, and he was actually a big part of that ring. But yeah, because of his defensive ability. Sorry, um, he's a lob threat. He's a good player. Um, Another thing that happened was Norman Powell re-signed with the Blazers. I'm not sure how much. I'm pretty sure he got $90 million over 5 years. I could be wrong. So yeah, that's good. Great player, a really underrated player. People actually forget that he's averaging about 18 points this season, or last season. Sorry. Really good player. Another player that was moved was Javale McGee. He's now to the Suns on a 1 year, $5 million deal, which is a really good signing for the Suns. Another defensive player to add to their roster. Really good shot blocker, really good center. A serviceable center, which is great. To get him for $5 million, it's a steal in my opinion. And then Evan Fournier is on his way to New York. I'm pretty sure it was a 4 year, $78 million deal, and people were, saying, "Oh, overpaid," blah blah blah. But I think people forget how much money they're actually paying these players nowadays. That's not that much. Like, yeah, he might not play his best, but he is a good player and he can play really well. So good signing for New York. Don't know about the price that they could sign him for, but hey, really good player. And yeah, Gary Trent Jr. returned to the Raptors. Really good to see. Great scorer. I remember watching him at Portland. He was really good off the bench, leading that second unit. Really good player. And then the last thing I want to talk about was Jarrett Allen. He returned to the Cavs, who signed him for a 5 year, $100 million deal, which is really good. Jarrett Allen is obviously a young player, very young, and for that 5 year, $100 million deal, I think it's going to be really good when he's older. I think he's going to be a really great center. So yeah, it's good to have him, and even if it doesn't work out, for that deal, they could still trade him for a decent player. So yeah, this was a video just talking about the free agency, the first day of free agency, and some of the things that happened. I didn't get to touch on everything I want to talk about, but I'm sure I'll do a recap of the off season when the season's about to start next season. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you later, and peace.